Greetings, Commanders. Welcome to another episode of Surviving Mars. So you're probably wondering how to get water in planets such as Mars, if you've ever wondered that. There's a couple of things you could do. So there's the terraforming missions that unlock eventually, but one of the things that I have in the early game, or in the early part of this terraforming, is to put lakes. So you can actually lay down lakes. It requires a lot of water, and eventually once those get filled up, you get these missions to do different capturing ice asteroids, which increases the water level. And there's another kind of episode, or another kind of mission where you can do a cloud, or import gases and clouds so that you can have rain. And the very first couple of things that the very first couple of rainfall that you get is toxic rain. But these levels, as they get higher, those unlock. Toxic rain, I believe, is at different temperature. Like you need heat to be at 50%. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'll leave a comment. 50% temperature. I don't think there's an atmosphere, or there might be an atmosphere level, and then there's a water level too. So you just saw me do a save in the game. The game kind of crashes. I noticed there are different things that you do in the game that creates a problem when you're playing it a certain type of way. For instance, when you import people from the underground, or colonists, and you put them back up to the surface, the game crashes for some reason. This happened when I had around 2,000 population, but the only way to do that is to not do it, I guess. So I've kept the people underground, but that's in a later episode. So the premise of this episode is to figure out how to get water, and the best way is to do these terraforming missions. There's a certain point after you increase the heat. I believe you do have to increase the heat up to 50% in order for rain to start pouring down. Which makes sense, condensation and evaporation, and then having that held up in the clouds will allow it to come back down. But at such low levels, the acidity level, the pH levels, I don't know if you've taken science. I think I learned pH levels in earth science before, but that's what I learned. pH levels are acidic when there's less of certain type of ions, right? I won't get into that because I don't really remember the whole thing about pH levels. I used to own a 55-gallon fish tank, and I remember taking care of a bunch of tropical fish, having to manage the pH levels of that. And then when I was very big on fitness, look at alkaline levels and things like that regarding my intake. But as far as this game goes, you don't need, it's not in depth like that where you keep an eye on pH levels, but you do have to manage the water. A lot of the water you can mine. These production plants, they don't produce, or they don't extract water unless there's a demand for it, if you do it that way. But the moisture evaporators, once you have those in place and the moisture level of the plant increases, it has a terraforming boost. I forget how much. I think it's up to 200 or 100%. There's also a commanded profile or a profile where you're a hydroelectric engineer that increases that stat. But I think I'm an inventor or a futurist. I can't remember. I think it's inventor. And I'm also part of Space Y in this game. But water is definitely something that's a challenge in here, especially in the early stages with everything going on. You do want to make sure, I've said this in previous episodes, that you have more storage than you are producing, because when these production plants go down, you've seen the disasters that happen. I don't turn this off because I want the achievements, and I'm playing a campaign. I'm trying to make it, I'm trying to play it in a style less like when I played City Skylines with no pausing and only the default speed. So when you have these elements of the game, it makes it a little bit challenging. So the water, moisture evaporators, they do produce and consume power no matter what, unless you turn them off at night. But you do want production of these things to be less than the storage, or if you can keep it like that, have the storage more than the production these things. So I unlocked the large storage tanks a bit ago. Forgot to mention that. That's a useful technology to unlock. So large storage tanks and the Moxies for the air scrubbers, they do require a lot of power, but eventually you'll be at the point where you can create a lot of energy, and as well as long as you store more than you create, then everything's good. So we're about halfway to all our milestones. There's still a bit to go, but eventually I do complete all of it. And the thing about the open farm, it also improves as the environment improves. So the farms are affected by acid rain too. They don't do well in acidic conditions. So some, I don't think when I was looking at what was happening that my crops failed or anything like that. It did say, some of my stuff was inactivated or not activated during an acid rainstorm or an acid storm or a toxic rainstorm. So they turn off the water and things like that. There is a large, just like a disaster type of thing where it lasts about 3 sols, and that was kind of worrying. But good thing my water supply, I had enough storage for it to last like 2 weeks or something like that. So you definitely want to prepare for that eventually in the game. Anyway, this is all the time that we have. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please hit the like button. And if you want to see more future videos like this, or make sure you don't miss another video, hit the subscribe button, ding that bell, and I'll see you in 3 days. This is John Nezodam signing out. Take care, stay safe, and remember, you're essential.